awesome, isn't it? Boom. This boat looks brand new. It's pretty incredible. This boat is super, super tidy. Pretty nice all the way around. Maybe the 21st century isn't too bad. Yow! Ow! Yahoo! Hi there, this is Captain Q and my old sailing buddy Randy. Join us as we travel hither and yon as we look for some great deals on classic boats and learn a little with each one.
Hey, good morning.
Pal, how are you?
Feeling a little pudgy.
Yeah, we're not actually in Portland. This Portland Pudgy happens to be sitting alongside a lovely Pearson 35.
Looks familiar.
It looks very familiar, and I think if some of our fans go back a few episodes, they'll see that. We're not here to look at that. We're here to discover and go places we haven't been before.
Oh, where are we going?
Well, we're going to the European continent, Germany to be exact, and we're also going into the 21st century.
Whoa.
We have stayed away from the 21st century, haven't we?
We have.
But we had an opportunity here to take a look at a 2001 Bavaria 40-foot sloop. And interesting boats. Bavaria is a German company, and what we're going to look at today is we've often talked about what these boats are with relative to cars. We're going to be looking at a Mercedes that's floating, okay? The same sort of attention to detail, the same execution of the intent of the design, the fit and finish, kind of perfection, just like getting behind the wheel of your big Mercedes with the little star on the nose. This will have an anchor on its nose instead. But it's kind of interesting, but it's also interesting too because there may be a lot of people who know about J&J, but I was not totally familiar with them myself, so I did a little tiny bit of research. J&J are actually two Slovenian gentlemen. The J stand for Efec and Jean, and their last name is Efopen, is the last name. They're from Ljubljana, Slovenia. And I hope somebody gives me a pat on the back for that, because I've been working on that one pretty hard. Anyway,
hours on that one.
They learned to sail about the age of 13, and one of them, the older brother, decided to go off and go to medical school. And then, I think, unfortunately, because of political issues going on in the country, he had to drop that. And so he joined his brother, who meanwhile had gone through the West Lawn School of Naval Architecture. And the two of them together decided they wanted to build some boats. So they started to build a couple little backyard boats and things, and they were impressed with that. And then at one point they went off to and talked with the CEO of Elan, which is a very large sports producer type company in Slovenia, apparently. They asked them to produce a sailboat to add to their line. They were not totally in boating. They had sporting goods and skis and all sorts of other stuff. And so these guys produced something, ended up calling the Elan 31, which in 1985 went off and won the 3/4-ton World's Cup. Pretty nice entree to yacht design and getting your name out there. So they signed a contract with Elan and built, I think, 940 of these boats. That's a lot of boats. At one point, though, Elan decided they wanted to focus more on skis, so they eliminated the boating side of things, and the two brothers went off and opened their own company called Seaway. And Seaway is an interesting operation because, let me draw a little analogy here. If you're a kid and you buy a plastic kit to build a boat or a car or something, and you glue it all together and you paint it up and you put it on the shelf and you say, look what I built. And everybody goes, wow, nice going, kid. But the truth of the matter is, the kid didn't really do much except glue some pieces together. Those pieces were designed, formed, and packaged to be sent to the builder, in this case, me or whoever bought the kit, and they produced the car. So these guys went off and said, let's go put together a company, and we're going to do yacht design and engineering, and also take control of the tooling, but not actually manufacture, not put things together. So a lot of builders would send out a request for new designs. They had these guys organize it, design it, and put it together. And they're called J&J is how they went by originally as engineers and then later Seaway. And like all designs and all issues, they flourished for quite a while. I just got a note here. They had over 300 projects in that company, and they had 55 different companies in 22 different countries, and they also won something like 90 boats of the year. And those were not all from one source. They provided the service to Jeanneau, Beneteau, Dufour, Grand Soleil, and Bavaria. Let's take a look at it. What do you say?
Yeah, let's check it out. Oh yeah.
Come on down here, pal.
This is looking pretty tidy.
She's very tidy, and I think we would also call her super sparkly, wouldn't you?
Very sparkly.
Very sparkly. Definitely very sparkly. Very sparkly.
Now, first thing you notice right off the bat is we don't have a lot of maintenance on this boat, do we?
No.
There's not a whole lot of varnish bright work on this boat to deal with, but what you do have, and what's interesting about this particular boat, is an incredibly beautiful teak deck. And we have a little story behind this particular teak deck. This owner gave the boat to the yard to repair a spot on the deck, and apparently something happened in translation to the work order, and so the crew came down and started to rip up the teak deck.
Oh no.
And they ripped up enough of it so that they really had to come back, and the yard said, oops, and they replaced the whole teak deck. So this boat has a brand new teak deck. It's beautiful. It still has that wonderful silvery sheen to it, and it's just smooth as can be. Just a little touch of the thiacol coming up for grip, and there's nothing that beats a teak deck when it gets wet and stormy out there. We have a fin keel. They adopted their own style where they were separating the keel from the rudder, and what they did, they added one more thing, because this has a shoal draft to it, and you can bring it into marinas like this and tie right up to the swamp practically. But and to help that, they added an additional piece on the bottom, not a torpedo, but more of a flared out section that also has a trailing tail to it a little bit, which I think is probably there to help control some of the vortices that come off the bottom of these fins. You're gonna have all the ballast you need with that extra lump down there to keep her standing upright, and she should still go to weather like a rocket. Pretty nicely done. Bruce Fire and Company designed a Bavaria 40, but it wasn't until 2008. This is a 2001, so it definitely was designed by J&J, and they've done a marvelous job. Oh, this boat looks brand new. It can't be 20 years old. I mean, there's not a nick or scratch, anything on it. Would you like to come aboard?
Oh yeah, let's go check it out.
Follow me, pal.
All right, thanks.
We love the subscribers.
Yeah, more subscribers means that we're going to get recommended to more people, and so that helps spread the love and spread the word about old classic boats and what we're doing, so every little bit helps.
Thanks again. I just stepped right into the cockpit, okay? And now, that sounds simple, but there's no, I'm not tripping over a winch or anything like that, just right in. And they've got the Dodger set up with a bimini that has a connection to it, but this has been, you know, unzipped for us. And if you were spending a lot of time in the boat, you'd unzip it, flop it back, and then you'd have a very easy access.
This combing kind of reminds me of that Hunter that we were on a while back.
Yeah, it's not dissimilar. There's a giant Ray Marine display. There's a nice little Sunto compass right here. We have a single lever throttle gas right here handy. Now, I do like the single.
I'm a fan too.
It's the only way to go. The two handles, you can get used to it, but it's nice not having to.
It's easy to confuse those in a panic moment for some of us.
Right, exactly. So we have a Whitlock steering systems. Okay, it's a wheel lock as well. So that's clever design. Usually we have a wheel lock on the side.
Yep. When do you use a wheel lock?
Let's say you're sailing along and the boat's pretty well balanced. Got the jib just right, the main's just right, and you want to go grab a sandwich and you've been sailing for 10 minutes and the boat hasn't varied in a degree or two. You can just tighten this up and go get your sandwich or take a look around beside the Dodger, see if anybody's coming. We've got a bevy of lockers in here, beautiful cushions set up. But also while I'm sitting back here, let's take a peek over the back end of this.
Can't get much more aft with that helm.
No, I am thoroughly aft. I'm going to pop these seat cushions off right here. because something's going to happen. Pop that open. And oh boy, how do you like that?
Time to go for a dip.
It is, and I could almost do that right now. I'd like to be further out in Long Island Sound right now. But that's pretty sweet. And what else do we see here?
Oh, you got your emergency rudder post.
Yes, right there. Very simple, very identifiable. And we have in this little section here, this should be our bilge pump under there. I don't want to snap that plastic cover on there. Those are tricky.
Yep.
And there's a couple of vents for these lockers. And they're very good at putting lockers everywhere. Here, look at the propane locker. Is this cute? Or what?
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
A nice little side entry,
yeah,
too.
exactly. And it's not gasketed, but if anything did come out, it's going to leak and flow right over the stern of the boat. There's a lot of handholds on here. And I don't think it was designed for the handicap like me. But see, coming out of the water, you're going to be able to come up the ladder, which is going to flip down below this. And you're going to have a place to grab on. And you've got a place to stand down here and drip and drain off. And I've got a little item right here you like. See this?
Oh, yeah.
We have a shower back here.
Quick rinse the salt off.
Maybe the 21st century isn't too bad.
They've made some good advancements.
Yes, boom. You know, the double lifelines. Just having these lifelines back here make me wonder, I might even lace them with something just so I didn't feel like if I got bumped or slipped, I'm gonna go through those lifelines.
Like barbed wire?
You got barbed wire?
That'll keep you off there.
That would work. Or at least they'd hear me when I went over the side, right? Yow!
Ow!
Yahoo! Nice push button. Now, this guy's gonna have to get a couple extra points, don't you think?
I like it.
Is that tidy?
Nicely, not gonna bounce around. He's got...
No, everything is right there, secure in this easy opening hatch. And you know, by using the part of the back of this as they have, it allows you to get a really big item. That whole bag of life jackets all fit in there easily. That's very nice. Nice buttons here. You're not going to catch yourself on that. And it's easy push open lock. Get my leg out of the way. Now,
oh boy!
Don't fall in there, Randy. This is
that for the hot tub? Is that where the hot tub goes?
Well, anything you want. That is the biggest hole I've ever seen in one of these lockers, bar any boat.
Is this supposed to be my pillow?
Listen, you're lucky to get that for a pillow. But I'm very impressed with that, Mike. And you know what else is nice? Let's look at this for a second. Look at the finish down here, and look at the glasswork coming into the flooring that you would stand on down in here, and even alongside the hull. It's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. Your jibs are not going to be overwhelmingly large, and you've got some nice Harken 2-speed self-tailing winches. And here we have traveler winches, and also the winches for any of your reefing gears right here. And look how neatly they've hung everything up here. This boat is super tidy. And the Dodger is not, it's not totally 6 feet for me, but it's not so high. I don't need the 6 feet under. I'm first of all going to be standing like this most of the time. This is fine, nice height.
You're going to be lying down most of the time.
I will be. I will be. A couple of hatches here, so you know you're going to get light and ventilation down to these spaces. And because we have this bridge deck area, and we notice there's only 2 lockers back here, you know what we're going to find, don't you?
There's not really a bridge deck, though, right?
No.
This kind of reminds me a little bit of that Beneteau 461. You're
so sharp this morning.
Right?
Did you have 2 cups of coffee?
I had 3.
Oh my God! Here, you take the board. I'm going to go lie down.
Too much.
I'm going to go lie down. That's very good. That's exactly right. And again, nice place to work these winches. If you're standing in here, you know you can handle the spin locks, and just be good.
And wedge your bum right up against that.
Right. Also, too, one other thing we're going to see a lot of on this boat, as I said, look at the handrails going below. You know, nice big long handrails, and there's another set right there. So, what do you say? Want to go forward?
Yeah, let's do it.
Randy.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy. Nice walkway here, a little narrower than some, but you know, I think we're going to gain a lot of cabin space down here. And this deck is so flat, we're not losing sitting or sunbathing room, you know. And not everybody races. Some people like to sunbathe in gunk hole. and this would be a pretty nice boat for that. She's gorgeous, gorgeous boat. We've got the 1x19 wire, no rod, that's fine.
And kind of inboard so you can step around.
We like that, inboard shrouds that you can move around like this. So much nicer, so much nicer. You have a in-mast furling system for the mainsail.
So what does that mean?
Well, that means that when you want to get rid of your mainsail or you want to reef it, there's a couple of lines here, and this particular system is right here. This is going to turn. This is sort of winch type of device will turn, and the sail is going to roll into a drum on the mast or roll out on the boom, and you can set any amount of sail you want. In-mast furling has pros and cons. The greatest pro, of course, is the ease of handling if you're just cruising and you don't need every last ounce of speed out of the boat. But because it does go into the mast, there are not going to be any battens in the sail, which means that your roach on the sail, which is the extra area behind the leech on the main, will be limited. Because if you have too much, there's nothing to support it. You need the battens. So you lose some of that power.
There is a specialty maker, I think, that does vertical battens.
They did put verticals. You're absolutely right. I've seen that.
But I don't know that I've seen them in the wild, so.
Yeah, and it might work, and if you want to try that, that's fine. But generally speaking, that's one of the drawbacks. But the pros way outweigh it. For a cruising boat and for performance, you're going to have a great time. If it starts to blow up, you see the big black cloud over there?
Yep.
Don't look now, it's not there. It's coming, and you say to your partner, hey, we got to reef this thing. They're down in the aft cabin just pulling in on one of these lines, and the sail just sucks into the mast until they have just as much sail as they want. The black cloud hits, they're having tea in the cockpit. So we have all the lines coming off the mast heading back to the cockpit, very neatly split apart. But you know, how many of the older boats, the older designs, had the mast and they loaded it up with winches.
Yeah.
Main halyard, jib halyard, and so forth.
Spinnaker halyards, backup halyards.
This is all done back in the cockpit. So what you end up with is a very aerodynamic mast, and that's a little addition of speed. The mast is deck stepped, means it does not go through the deck, and pros and cons of that. A lot of the pros are to it is that it gives you extra room in the cabin. It prevents having another giant hole in the deck that's going to try to leak. Somebody said, well, what happens if the mast falls over? Well, that's a real pro to it, actually, because if the mast falls over, the whole mast is going to go over the side in the worst kind of conditions. And that's a lot better than having a section of it break off. Again, I go back to my own experiences there where you had a section of the mast breaking off and beating against the side of the boat because it was still stuck to a piece that went through the deck. So this is a really nice, clean spar. Spin lock fittings on here for halyards and so on.
Oh, the other nice thing about not having winches there is the weight, right?
Yeah, you start adding those winches on, pretty soon you've got I don't know, 10, 20, 30 pounds up elevated over the boat, which is, hold it, I have an engineer here. How much will that make the boat lean more?
Yeah. If
we go to 10 degrees, is it going to take us another 2 degrees over?
Depends on how many sandwiches your crew has had.
I see.
Good. On the windward rail.
Now moving forward very easily, walking right over the hatch onto this beautiful deck. And I'm looking down, I believe I see, what do you think that is?
Ooh, that, I don't know. Is that a pop? It can't pop up, can it?
No, I think that's a deck light. It's going to light up your sail at night. And so you can see your telltales. I'm pretty certain that's what it looks like. And if it isn't, I would make it one. Okay. Nice Furlex roller furling unit. This boat has just not been, this particular boat has not been abused or overused. We have a seat for you, Randall, right at the bow.
Ooh, I'm going to try that one out.
And you can even do a backflip off of that one because the
I wouldn't land on concrete.
Pulpit is not continuous. Now,
oh, there we go.
How do you think? Oh, you look great there. You comfortable?
Yeah, this is my spot.
Okay, that's it. Well, while you're sitting there, let me just take a look at the anchor locker here. How about this windlass? This has still got dust on it from the showroom. Beautiful. Lock on the Gypsy here, and chain, nice clean chain locker down there. Pretty nice all the way around. They've got the sort of CNC looking rail here, but it's not, actually now they look at that, that does not have the holes in it, does it?
No.
That's just a toe catcher. That's That's what they're using to keep you on board, and also to mate the deck to the hull. I like where they've set their cleats here back aft here a little ways, so you can place your work on them without bumping into somebody else. And also, it's going to be tough to get your foot out there and kick that, won't it?
Yeah.
Now looking aft here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big hatches. This is letting a lot of the outdoors inboard, isn't it?
Nice and drafty.
So we're going right by two nice Selden boom bang, and that's all run by on a tackle. It's spring loaded, and then you just pull down on the tackle to address that. The Traveler right here, forward of the Dodger, out of the cockpit. The Dodger, again, like everything else on here, appears to have been put on yesterday. This is, it's so nice to see this unfogged and tired looking. And it has a center flap there that will open up so that you can leave all this in place. And if you open up that center flap, you're going to have all the air you want coming through, and then you're going to have the Dodger protecting you. What do you say, Randy? I want to take you below on this because I think you might find this a little tighter than a boat you've seen recently.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Come on down.
All right.
Okay, Randy.
Yeah.
Once again, come on down and take a look at this place.
Whoa, it's more wood than I thought.
It's awesome, isn't it? I'm looking at some of the woodwork in here, and even right beside me, I don't know what they've done, if some of this is veneer work on other wood or what, but it reminds me of some of the wood dash you find in Mercedes-Benz.
Oh yeah.
You know, doesn't that remind, it's something about the cut of the wood or the however they presented it. But it's really nice, and I like these little armchairs I'm sitting in, and I have a little cabinet right beside me that has a bucket in it. And I've known a couple sailors that would like to have had that bucket handy.
I've used that bucket.
But that's a small point here.
Sometimes use the ocean.
Okay, we've seen all this sort of thing on other boats. This is just taken up to the nth degree. And we've seen other boats with port lights, okay. But look at the size of these. Look at how they snap and hold open by themselves. Look at the handrail along the side here. We don't have one overhead, which I'd like, but one thing they've also done here, which we don't seem to see quite as much on some of the new, and I'm going to start referring to them as 21st century boats, is all the rounded edges. That's very important. See the rounded edges on the sink there?
Yep.
And back on this piece. Everything's rounded down here. No matter how you get thrown against it, it's not going to pierce the flesh. Leave you a bruise probably, but that's all. Nice library section here. Well stored paper goods, eating stuff, and so on. We have a fun port light in the hull here. We haven't seen that too often on boats, and they like it more and more with the modern boats. I remember the first time I saw that was on the Hinckley 48 transiting from New York City to Florida one winter with my father, and she had port lights in the hull, and you could go below when the boat's heeling over, and you could see the porpoise swimming along beside us. Dolphins or porpoise, I've never know which is which. But
one is dark meat, one is light meat. Just kidding. We love them. Anyway,
but to see them, it was like being in your own aquarium. So it's kind of cool to have one. I don't need 20 of them all over the boat, but having this one is fun. We have a really handsome salon table, and we have also a very handsome saloon table. So we have one of each. That particular table is not set up to lower to become a double. We have to watch television these days, so that's like giant mega screen, right? Sitting on leather.
Oh.
Ooh. And why not have leather? You might think, oh, leather on a boat, what if it gets wet? These cows live outdoors all day long, don't they? So by the time you get to it, Velcro hides our little storage for extra big things you can't store anywhere else. Also looking here, let's just take a peek. These guys sort of perfected the use, as I recall, of a chopper gun. And chopper guns were often frowned upon in early days because a lot of people handling them didn't know how to handle them. So you get highs and low spots, and some of the early manufacturers had problems with it. But in this particular boat, they've done that, and then they've mated it with a whole series of longitudinals. and stiffeners throughout. So this boat is rock solid. And it's also a cost saving for building and for weight.
I just noticed the Morris style push button knobs too.
Yeah, was that Morris that had those?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
They had, yeah, they're nice, aren't they? Look at that. And your fingers grab it and pop it right open. And these are also spring loaded, so it holds itself open. It's not going to come slam back on your hand. And it has the quick close. Small details. But again, typical German engineering. In this case, I should say Slovenia engineering within the German framework. Let's spend a few minutes in the galley. What do you think about this galley? What do you see you like?
I like that it's nice and tight, so you can wedge yourself right in there if you're out under a
right here. Look at that.
Yep.
I can't be any tighter, can I?
No.
Boat heels that way. We're all set. We have a 2-burner stove, which is pretty much propane. Pretty much all you need. Anything more than that for the average sailing family is superfluous. We see storage all the time. This is just impeccable stuff. This is high-level furniture, design and build. Our friendly pop-up buttons. How tidy is that?
There.
And how easy to make it tidy. That's a nice thing. I notice they use a lot of paper. They've got some plastic in their gear, which is nice. Plastic is nice on a boat because things have a way of dropping. Now we have a very nice refrigerator, and there's going to be a freezer section back off to one side, I'm pretty certain. It also has a spring loaded to hold that open. 2 sinks near the center line, and one is slightly deeper than the other. Is that an optical protrusion?
Nope, this one's like a little drain one, and then this is deep. Yeah, it's got a little slope.
Hot and cold pressure. Oh,
look at that.
We finally found some way we can turn on the water. Isn't that nice? So, great galley, glassware storage, a place to put. They spend a lot of time at a dock on occasion, so they've got things like a toaster. Well, what do you think? We've got White Claw, hard seltzer, and our favorite
DM.
DM.
Good combo.
I think it sounds great. We've got storage under here. I won't pull you around, but it is an easy place for the garbage collection. Oh, hold on. You gotta see this. I just opened this up. Watch. Okay. Let's see. I gotta get. How do we like that? Comes right out on ball bearings. Nice storage for silverware and everything. Look at this storage. It just needs a big enough hammer. You know, that's nice and deep. Look how much storage. We've never seen that much storage that close to the, within the galley. It's a matter of how they've incorporated in there. The design and build is fabulous. Come on over to my nav station. I have one little problem here, very small problem, and that is that this particular owner has a little piece down here which is an ice maker, a nice handy little gizmo to have down there. So anyway, it's a nice height. I would have liked to have had this tilted a little bit, but this is not a problem. We'll live with this. And again, the beautiful finish on everything. It's just, everything is perfect, just perfect and placed perfectly. There's no raw saw cuts where they've stuck an instrument in or taken it out. Here's all your 120 volt system switches for hot water. 12 volt. Look at these little things with lights on them. So each one lights up, you know it's on. And that's pretty cool. So I can turn that on. I've got that now. I know I've got my steaming light on. They actually have a picture. Look at that. There's a picture of the steaming light. See where that little white dot is? That's the steaming light on the boat. And I just turned it on. I'm turning it off now. I want my running lights on. I turn that on so you can see the bow, stern, running lights are on. That is a really nice panel, isn't it? And you can read that no matter what your language is.
Yeah.
Universal. Now, I'm curious about this.
Ooh.
Oh, look at this.
I've got some envy.
Oh my God. Wire envy, huh?
Yep.
Wire.
It's a real thing.
They're not here. We could take this panel home with us for you. Would you like that? Is that gorgeous or what? Whoa. That's fabulous. That is the best we've seen yet. Now, I haven't been on all the new 21st century boats, and quite possibly I'll find similar lockers, but for an old fat like me to find this, it's pretty swell. Nice open locker storage for miscellaneous gear. What do you think the nav station is going to look like?
It's got to be multiple points.
Let's hope.
Oh.
What do we think? You know what? Look carefully now. Notice the tools that are up here. See how they're all lying in there? Nothing's really touching anything. He's got his hex head sockets. Yep. He's got a couple little screwdrivers there. I'm giving this a plus. This is worth points. I mean, you got to have stuff in here, right? So he's got a little list of things to do, and the glue, and this is point worthy, I think.
Okay.
Don't forget, remind me, would you?
Yeah.
It's up to you now.
I don't think I can remember.
And if you don't remind me,
there's
these
no
poor
way.
people will lose points. And this is handy, just to put stuff in and not have it fly around on you. That just locks down there like that. So if you need, some of your navigation tools. But superb nav station. Nice height. Nothing overhead hitting my head, is there? Nothing. Okay. So.
Yeah, let's see what the headroom is when you're in the center.
When I'm in the center?
Yeah.
Well, that's, that much plus 6'1", so 6'6", easily.
Right
6'6", and maybe a bit more.
Oh, whoa.
Randy!
Disappearing.
Huh? Hey, buddy. How do you like this?
That's pretty sneaky.
Is this sweet? Oh, this is so good. There's not much cockpit intrusion here, and both sides have nice ceilings. If you lay against this side, it's all wood. And we've got a port light up there, don't we? Right here for air and ventilation. And we've got a reading lamp here. And a nice shelf for books and your night water and so forth. Pretty nice little compartment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice storage for hanging lockers and for your sweaters and pants and underwear and so forth. We're going to look at this from another direction as well.
Yeah.
Look at that engine. That's right off the shelf yesterday too.
Wow, those motor mounts look like
Volvo Penta. And look at the bilge area. It's just clean and neat, freshly painted.
And how
as can be.
How many hours on it?
Oh, all of 150 hours on this.
Oh, so it's a brand new engine.
No.
Oh, just never uses the
They
motor.
just don't use the engine. They've used it for it's a couple that just like to get in the boat. They had it for a long time on the Hudson River, and they'd leave their home up there, and they would just motor up and down the Hudson River.
What about front access to the engine?
Well, here we go. I'm gonna have to lift this way up in the air. Oh, my gosh, it's spring-loaded. Look at that.
A little hydraulic. Nice.
Hydraulic lift like your Mercedes-Benz engine hood. This probably came off a Benz hood. Everything you want, and you see the other door over there, just like the one we saw on this side?
Yep.
So you're going to be able to get to it from everywhere. And I also imagine possibly even from that giant hole in the cockpit that we saw out there.
Yeah, I don't see the fuel filter or strainer.
Oh, it's someplace very convenient. We just haven't found it yet.
Yeah, probably back in that cockpit.
They're not going to forget something like that. Could
Yeah.
be. While we're back here, this guy and the cook and the navigator get ahead, so to speak. And they've done a nice thing here. This is all molded in. It's a whole liner, if you will, all plastic. And here's the other opening for the other engine room. Easy to clean. It gets wet. It's a wet shower, as people call it, or wet head. But here's your shower head right here. Boom, wash down. It's got a drain over behind the door. Now, I don't know if you can sneak in here. Come on in here with me for a second. And we'll close the door. And there's a nice seat to do your showering in. Or put on your shoes or whatever. And we have, gosh, we even have more storage here too, don't we? Look at the size of the porthole here. A lot of room and air, and there's a big little hatch right above you too. So you're going to get the moisture out of this place either through the drain or evaporate up through the overhead.
What's behind?
Now this is not where they keep their beer. We don't know exactly why that's there, but it's certainly a handy storage place for something. And it would probably also have, it has little hooks in there so you could hang your towels in there, which is kind of clever.
Or even your foulies?
Good point. Actually, I think I like that point better. I just want you to look at, I don't know what I'm looking at, okay?
Right.
But just take a look at how it's engineered and done. It's either part of the pressure water system or...
Oh, yeah.
I'm not exactly certain. But look at how it's done. Perfectly, right?
Yeah.
Hello? Randy? Yep, come on in, pal. I'm just relaxing here in my V-berth cabin. Look at the size of this thing. Look how generous it is. Look at the height. This is not too high nor too low for the cushions. And I'm sure they probably took measurements on 800 people's legs to figure out what's the best height for this. And again, look at the woodwork on the bulkheads here. It's right off the dashboard of your Mercedes 900 something, whatever they are. We've got a nice hanging locker behind me, not unlike the aft cabin, so everybody gets hanging locker and shelf storage, right? Push button locks. And we close the door, we got complete privacy, got a giant hatch for air here, don't we? And why not have our own head?
Oh, a little ensuite.
Look at that. Look at that, huh?
I think you're gonna like the mirror situation here.
Well, I do notice that the head on this one is incorrectly set thwart ships.
Yeah.
But the after head was fore and aft.
And that's the one you'd use underway anyway.
Yes, exactly. So, lots of room, even in this head for the big guy, for Captain Q. And I can sit down and be totally comfortable if I don't hit my elbow anymore. And
wouldn't be a boat visit without a
no.
bruise.
Nice big space opening up there. And nice sink, storage, all the same. Look at the size of this mirror on a door. And you know those towels and things are going to stay dry forever, right?
Yeah.
There aren't going to be deck leaks on this boat. So, pal.
Am I gonna leave you here?
Well,
on the throne?
Should I try this?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to put a little foot catcher down there. And, oh, there are pillows here too. I'm going to borrow this pillow for a minute. I got a lighthouse on this pillow. See, that's how I know where my head goes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Follow the light.
Look, I can just sit here very easily, swing my feet up. And that was the easiest. Look how much air volume is in here. That makes a lot. And yet we didn't see a big bubble on deck, did we?
No.
This cabin just swoops down, as it does on other designs. But I don't know what else they've done here, but they've created massive amounts of airspace.
And it's still at least 6'1" of headroom right here, so.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's reduced from the main cabin, but it's still really decent.
And we don't have an opening for the chain locker here, which you don't need. If you don't have it, you don't need it, because you've got a really big chain locker opening up on the deck, right?
Yep. And
look at the size of this hatch. I'm going to get my hat blown off in here. But you know what happens when we get in here, Randy?
Things start to slow down. You get tunnel vision.
The world slows down.
And then you follow the light.
And I think I'm now dreaming, I hate to say this, and don't tell anybody I'm saying this, okay? I think I'm dreaming a little bit about the 21st century.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, shh.
Nighty night.
Shh. See you later, pal. This is a Mercedes we looked at today, and it looks like the woodwork on the interior came off the dashboard of the 900 series or whatever their big series is. The fit and finish, the details, the polish to everything. This boat was immaculate. Admittedly, this boat was only 21 years old. The engine, 150 hours.
That's unheard of. That's like the break-in period.
The engine needs to be run more, actually. Yeah. They should loan it to me and I'll go run that timer for them. What do you think? And I really like the fold-down transom door. Didn't we like that?
Yeah.
That worked.
I'm surprised you like that.
Well, you know, as I mentioned, this boat kind of sucked me into the 21st century, didn't it?
Are you evolving?
No. I might someday.
Maybe.
Anyway, if I stick around you long enough, it could happen. Ooh. So, anyway, I'm going right to near perfection, 40 points.
Wow.
It floats, it was in the water, it's got everything you want on it, it's got all the instrumentation. This boat needs nothing.
Also, don't forget the lockers, the organization of the lockers, and the nav station.
The organization in the cockpit lockers was outstanding. We love that. Even you really like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's getting 2 points for that.
Yep.
And the nav table gets another 2 points. 44 for this beautiful, beautiful Bavaria 40-foot J&J design from 2001. It's a dandy. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when the next one comes out, please hit the alert bell. And that's not desperate at all. Randy, how would I ever find out what's coming up next?
You can follow us on Instagram here,
Yeah.
or Facebook here. We'll have little previews of what's coming up in our next episodes a little bit early.
That's pretty cool. Previews. You all join me. I'm going to Instagram right now, and I'm going to find out what's coming up next week. Thank you very much.
You know, Instagram's not a place.